Hello everyone, welcome back to another bizarre episode of Palling with Peacemaker, Jeannine. Oh, it's already all going a bit insane, isn't it? But it needs to, because it's not a long series of television. We're technically halfway through the damn series of television, aren't we? Which is wild, really. When you consider that our other show, obviously, that alternates on Mondays on the It's Wonderful podcast feed, is Discovering Dawson's Creek with 9 million episodes.
Oh, yeah.
It feels very strange, like this is even quicker than a Ted Lasso season was.
Yeah.
This is rapid pace seasons of television, given that we are halfway through a season. And there's something suspect going on in this other dimension, Jeannine. I've not quite put my finger on it, yes, and I know that in our last episode of this show, which technically was our first episode back with Palling with Peacemaker, I did say that I knew there was some thing going on in this other dimension from social media that obviously was out there a few months ago when the show did, or when the season did air, but I was never quite made aware of exactly what
it was. Okay. Good.
But it's clear that there's something a bit suspect going on. I mean, any time anything, I think, in a show like this just feels a bit too comfortable,
too perfect,
too nice, and everything's going right, and there are people still alive who should not be still alive. There are people behaving very strangely to their, I suppose, real world counterparts. You just immediately go, there must be something going on here. I don't know if it's some sort of like almost a WandaVision situation where it's this just created version of a town and of Peacemaker's town. I can't quite remember actually where it's set specifically, but whether it's just this created governmental,
I mean,
town, and everything else in that particular world is on fire or destroyed or whatever it may be. I don't quite know. I've not put my finger on it yet.
Yeah, I mean, at a bio, she mentioned some other options to Chris of like what it could be, if it's all kind of a fake thing, or something he's imagined, or so she makes up other kind of crazy suggestions and outlandish things, but he is settled in the idea that it's real and it's just a different.
It's definitely not.
I'm
not thinking. Yeah, I'm not thinking it's any sort of imagination or hallucination or dream or anything like that. Because why would Frank Grillo as Rick Flagg Sr. and his whole Argus cohort, whatever they are, be directly after Peacemaker, because they know this sort of dimensional space exists. They know this dimensional room exists. They know there's something going on there. And after, obviously, the events of Superman with Lex Luthor, they want to just calm everything down a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't they? They don't want any more crazy world-ending nonsense going on.
Yeah.
So, which is perfectly reasonable, and obviously multiverses can cause crazy world-ending nonsense. And I'm sure eventually, I say eventually, it won't be that long, will it? In a couple of episodes' time, when we're talking about the finale of Peacemaker season 2. And maybe Peacemaker the show in its entirety. We did say last week we don't quite know if they're going to do a third season of this specific show.
Yeah, he said there's no plans at the moment. So anything I think that we end with this show will be maybe continued and explored in movies, in movie forms with these characters.
Or in other people's shows, perhaps. In other
potentially.
Shows.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting thought. I am likely to believe that the end of this particular season will be some sort of world endangering situation, a little bit more extreme than maybe the butterflies were in season 1, which, while threatening feeling, I think did also feel somewhat contained. I know they
Yeah.
did turned parasitic at one point and started infecting here, everybody here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
I just get the feeling that now, as Gunn's DC becomes more comfortable within itself, as it becomes more well-rounded, you're just going to see it get a little bit more intense and a little bit
Okay.
more grand scale as
Yeah.
the time goes on. But really, are those what we are here to celebrate Peacemaker about and to get into Peacemaker about? No, I think the better parts of these two episodes that we're talking about today, which are episodes 3 and 4
Mhm.
of season 2, titled Another Rick Up My Sleeve, because oh my god, Rick Flagg, as played by Joel Kinnaman, is
Is back.
alive in the other dimension.
Mhm. Yeah.
He has not been killed.
No.
And episode 4 is called Need I Say Door, because obviously they like their stupid pun titles. And everybody's obsessed with a door. It's just crazy, isn't it, really? It is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to ponder over,
Mhm.
but as I said, I think still the highlight of everything that's going on is just how easy John Cena is as this character now.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Mhm.
how much better he seems to be at doing what's necessary for the clearly more emotionally
Yeah. Yeah, I
sort
mentioned
of
that last time.
charged things going on
Yeah.
in this season. It seemed very straightforward, the emotion in season 1, really, because he was kind of he was getting over, yes, okay, a fairly deep trauma, but a fairly straightforward trauma when
Yeah.
you consider all things traumatic.
Mhm.
This is just putting a couple of added layers onto that.
Yeah, I mean, he's
And it's
living he's now trying to live in the change that he chose to make last season, by the end of last season. So we saw him
yeah,
working up to this change after the guilt he felt for everything he'd done, and now we're seeing him live the change on top of now the kind of mind messing with what's happening in the other dimension with a loving father that really is just so counter to the relationship he previously had with him, and his brother being alive and having that family connection that he
yeah,
was robbed of. So those added emotional layers that he has to play to, and also Harcourt, he's in love with her, but she, has this wall up against him. And
yeah,
so the complex things he has to play to on top of kind of him trying to live as this new man. He really has a lot of heavy lifting to do emotionally, and I think he's doing a beautiful job with it.
yeah. I'm not sure if we'd recorded the last episode of Palling with Peacemaker, the first one back
Mhm.
before or after John Cena's final WWE match, which
I
seems
don't
to
think we
be
did.
big
Yeah.
news.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think we did, because I'm sure we would have mentioned it.
Yeah.
Um, because even the fact that happened, I had no idea that. I don't keep up with WWE. I
Yeah,
had no
me
idea that
neither.
was
Yeah.
happening until it did happen and everybody
Was talking
was
about it,
talking
yeah.
about it. But that clearly shows me that Cena is ready, I don't know whether it's through a kind of age-related thing, but he's not that old, is he? Or there's injury problems or whatever it may be. I genuinely have no idea. But he's ready to move on with his career
Mhm.
and take this side of his performing way more seriously.
Yeah.
And I like to see him do that, because
Mhm.
I think he's getting better at it, and that
Oh, yeah.
will only mean he gets better at it. And we need more. If wrestlers are going to continue to become, I suppose, not that wrestlers aren't legitimate performers, of course they are, but legitimate sort of on-screen TV and movie actors that aren't
Yeah.
just in straight to DVD nonsense,
Yeah.
then we need more Cenas and less The Rocks.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
think in that regard. I would also put Dave Bautista on the Cena trend.
Yeah, and The Rock only just now kind of getting on that trend as
He
well
is he's
after
somewhat
after
late.
his kind of
Yeah,
long career in the film side of things. He's only kind of just now digging in deeper into things. He's also kind of doing what Batista did and kind of losing weight, and
yeah,
losing some of the bulk, to be able to kind of go out for some more kind of prestige
yeah.
filmmaking stuff.
I
So,
suppose so.
yeah.
It's interesting. I just like to see that. I think, particularly this first episode we're talking about today, which we'll get up. I
Mhm.
think you've got a synopsis there
Okay.
for us. Another Rick up my sleeve, episode 3. You see
Yeah.
a lot of great acting from Cena because he's able to sit in this really pleasant seeming world until
Mhm.
something drastically goes wrong, and he has to save the day as the world saving superhero he has always wanted to be.
Yeah.
It works. He's
Yes.
actually fully successful at that.
Yes.
It's interesting to see that happen truly for the first time in everything we've ever seen from Peacemaker.
Yes. So yeah, another Rick up my sleeve. Chris saves a DMV in the parallel universe from the Sons of Liberty and suggests he and the other Amelia reconsider their relationship. Meanwhile, Economos is told by Argus that he and the others will have to take out Eagly, and a skilled eagle hunter is brought in to help them.
Yes, I mean, before you said that, I'd temporarily forgotten about the skilled eagle hunter as
Yes.
ridiculously played by Michael Rooker.
Yes, I mean, James Gunn always finds a way to incorporate
Of
his
course.
longtime friend into his work, and so he comes in as this eagle expert to take out eagly, and of course, very
Yes.
offensive in terms of his dress and his
Incredibly
language, and
effective.
yeah,
I mean, as only, I suppose, somebody like Michael Rooker can be so naturalistic about it. He
yeah,
seems to have always been very good at being vulgar when
mhm,
needed to be. But
yeah.
that's this show as well, isn't it? It is directly vulgar when it needs to be, and it's all the better for it, really.
Yes, yes, and we
But
do
he's
have
wearing this
another.
ridiculous sort of
Yeah,
stereotypical Native American costume
yes, yeah.
and using racial slurs to describe people. It's
Yeah,
quite
because we do have a returning character, Judo Master, um,
I'm
from the
not keen
previous
on
season.
Judo Master.
He's brought
He
in to help
reminds me.
with
He
his
reminds me
Cheetos.
of yes. He genuinely reminds me of not in any other way other than this character returning and recurring just annoys me. He reminds me of Stingray in Cobra Kai.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, just kinda
just be
popping up.
done with him. I don't need to keep seeing him. He annoyed me in the first season of Peacemaker. He was just a little ratty thing that just didn't serve any purpose other than to be aggravating for everybody. And why is he being brought back? Just for Michael Rooker to be racist towards him.
I mean, I think he's also somebody who has gone up against Chris in the past, so he's like Economos, but without the having to deal
The
with him being
friendship.
friends with, yes, without the friendship, with all of that. So I think that's maybe why they bring him in. But he also will have some, I think, some solid stuff in the second half of this season. So I
Okay.
totally get what you're saying. As soon as I saw him, yeah, I definitely was feeling some Stingray energy from there. But they find a way to incorporate him in a really interesting way, and connect with someone that you don't expect him to connect with in an interesting way.
Okay.
So yeah, he'll get some solid stuff, I think, in the second half. But as of this moment, I could definitely see why you would be like, oh my god, this guy again eating his hot Cheetos
Yeah.
and but even that whole scene, I think, in the truck was very comical. Like that whole kind of back and forth with all these varied personalities, when they are driving to Chris's to, take out Eagly and infiltrate this portal that they know he has. Um,
Yeah.
just kind of the randomness of the dialogue and the comedy, with his interaction in it, I think was all very funny stuff. So
Definitely. Definitely. I mean, Economos is a funny character, isn't he?
Yeah.
Really, because he's so over everything. He's so over having to do this job, but it's all he can do.
Yeah,
It's
and he
all
tries
he's
to have this
got good
integrity until he's like, "Oh, I can't be unemployed. I'll do it, but I don't like
at.
it," kind of thing.
I don't like that I'm doing this, but yes, okay, I'll do it. And Tim Meadows is there being stupid again with it,
Calling him
thinking
Ginger
he's a
Cool.
joke, calling him exactly calling him Ginger Cool. I mean, it's not the worst thing someone's referred to in this
No,
episode.
but I could see that being annoying. But also, I was just like, "Ooh, was it a not good choice to have him spit on the black man, spit in the face of the
Mm,
black man?" I don't know about that.
mm. There's
In the next
an
episode,
odd thing
but
going on.
yeah, um,
But I
but
could also see why Tim Meadows is obviously being an annoying
he
presence
is.
as well.
He's very annoying. And I love, Economos like calling him out, saying that like, "Oh yeah, when you were on the phone with him, he was winking and like acting like he had you wrapped around his
Yes,
little
to the
finger."
boss.
Yeah. Yeah. To
But
Rick
not the proper boss,
yeah.
not Rick Flagg Sr.
No,
necessarily.
but his kind of first in command that he's kind of put
Yeah.
to keep track of all the people involved here at Arcus on this kind of Chris case, because he doesn't trust Economos to do what he needs to do because he's
Yeah.
friends with Chris. So he has all the team kind of supervising basically.
But does it work? Does
Yeah.
it work? Does it work in getting them the information they need? Because they can go and try and hunt eagerly all they want. They're not gonna be able to stop him, as we see.
Yeah.
Eagerly is just too clever of a bird.
Well, I
To
mean,
do.
he did actually
He
get a little bit of
destroyed
help.
them all in the last.
But he did
Uh,
get a little help from Economos in this episode
oh, he did,
because
yeah.
the eagle hunter does have him in his sights, and Economos just pushes the man into a rock before he can shoot eagerly, and then has to play it off like, "Oh, yeah, a second eagle came down and just knocked you into
Yeah.
that rock," and has to play
What?
it.
A second eagle, and then he gets really
Kind of
disturbed at the fact there's going to be a
yeah.
second eagle.
Yes, that it means the spiritual whole kind of thing is happening if there's 2 eagles. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, it ultimately I think all of this stuff with Economos and Judo Master coming back and all of that was where we got, I think, the best comedy of the episode. But while all that's going on, we actually opened this episode in a really interesting way. Like, how did you feel about this opening, seeing Rick Flag back and him having this whole kind of
Yeah.
affair, best friends with benefit situation with Harcourt that we're kind of just supposed to know, we're
Yeah.
learning that was kind of happening all in the background. We allude to June Moon from the not so great Suicide Squad. That
Which
relationship
is an interesting choice, to be fair,
to
that we're
keep that
even
continuity
mentioning.
in there, to acknowledge bits and pieces of that version of the Suicide, because I mean, they had to, I think, to some degree, because we had characters from that Suicide Squad coming back,
Yeah.
Harley Quinn, and them kind of partly acknowledging things that happened in that first Suicide Squad movie. So
Boomerang as
I
well. He came
exactly.
back.
Yeah, so I like the cherry picking of kind of like, because I think people think they can't do that they either have to erase something completely or stick to something completely. But I like that
Yeah.
James Gunn, in this kind of precarious situation that he's jumping from one universe to the other, and he was even kind of stuck in between the dying of one universe and what he wanted to
He was.
do, and the
Yeah, he
failures of
was.
that universe and what he wanted to do. He found a way to work around it interestingly. So now I love that, like, he's like, "No, I'm not sticking to these rules of either erasing everything or following everything. I'm going to cherry pick what I need to cherry pick to tell my story, and then we'll figure it out. Like, I can just let you know what's canon." And I'm like, cool, like that works for me. So I like that there's an allusion to, Rick Flag with June Moon, but he's like only with her because he's afraid she could kill him.
Which she definitely could. I mean, even given the weird whatever she was doing in that in
Yeah, and I mean, I
2016
think
Suicide
in
Squad movie. The Enchantress is a powerful character regardless.
yes, and I
So
wanna say at the end of that movie, like, they killed the Enchantress in her and she became, like, a normal person again, but, like, now, knowing in the back of your mind that we're kind of just cherry picking things, that's maybe not how that movie ended, so
no,
yeah, so,
no.
yeah, I like that he's kind of only with her because he's kind of afraid of her and he wants to be with Harcourt, and he's, like, laying down the groundwork to make this a serious thing, and she's talking about shipping out. So we know all of this is the night before they actually go to the events of James Gunn's Suicide Squad. And so
Yes.
then, she says you ship out in like 2 days or whatever, and then we go through a montage of him going there and getting killed by
Yeah.
Peacemaker, and that's kind of how and then we go into the opening credits. So I kind of
I'm
liked this
very
little nugget of unseen stuff that happened before James Gunn's Suicide Squad. Like, what did you think of this scene? And it was kind of a nice,
yeah.
interesting surprise to see Joel Kinnaman again and all of that kind of thing.
Very much so. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't have expected to see him again. A canonically dead character and actively somebody whose namesake father we're now dealing with in the show,
Yeah.
who can be considered Rick Flagg for for going forward.
Yeah.
But no, he's back for this, and obviously he's not just back in that little prologue bit. He's back in the other dimension as
Yeah.
fully fledged Rick Flagg.
Yeah.
Admittedly, a little sillier, I think.
Yeah,
From the
yeah, not as a
before.
hardened version or cool version as the one we
No,
know, a kind of more
a
meeker,
lovesick.
insecure kind of version of a
Yeah,
character. Yes, but I think this
but
opening
probably rather overpowered by his father, who also presumably does exist in the other
maybe in this
dimension. I don't
universe,
think
yeah.
we've seen
No,
that
no.
alternate version of Rick Flagg Sr. yet, if at all. But you have to assume that there's some sort of nepotism pressure there, probably.
Yeah,
And he's obviously in the nice dimension, shall we call it, the good, the everything's perfect dimension. Rick Flagg, Joel Kinnaman
yeah,
is clearly also very much in love with Harcourt, and that
yeah.
version of Harcourt is also, I think, actively easier to love than our real world version of
Yeah,
Harcourt. He's
yes.
just mean to everybody and cruel. And yes, very okay.
There are
There's
walls
a lot
up.
going on.
Yeah,
There's a
there's a
lot
wall.
going on in
Yeah,
Harcourt's mind. Sure, there is.
yes.
I'm not saying that in a bad way. But
Which
it
I
would
will
be
speak to,
yes, go
while
ahead.
you're just on it, I'll speak to she also, gets some beautiful acting moments, and she does some great
Definitely.
things, Jennifer Holland, in this
Definitely.
season. So, just be prepared for kind of this last half. She's gonna get some really kind of beautiful scenes with Chris and with other characters to kind of flesh out, her
Could
her
believe it.
emotional kind of state and things like that. So, yeah, props to her in this season because not only was John Cena kind of really digging deep, so
Yeah.
was she, and they had some beautiful performances here. Like, I would love to have seen them get any kind of, nominations or anything like that because I thought they did a really good job this season. So
No, I could believe it. I think we've already seen elements of that from Jennifer Holland in these 4 episodes already in this first half
yeah,
of the season. So yeah, I look forward to see where it goes. I suppose. And
yeah,
I suppose we're now dealing with almost 2 stories in one, aren't we? Given that we are in 2
two different kind of
different
places
worlds.
and dealing with two different versions of different characters and things like that. But
Yeah,
this opening as well also adds to the motivation of Harcourt to potentially betray Chris or be upset with him, or just
yeah,
adds more stakes as to like explains why she was so against Chris or why she hated him so much when she first met him, because
yeah,
Rick Flag was not just like this, person she was hooking up with. They considered themselves best friends as well.
yeah.
And each other's only friend, really. So it kind of fills in that gap of why she was so hateful to Chris when she first met him, because he
Yeah.
killed her best friend. And why maybe she could, her allegiances could be shaky again, kind of being brought up with it, because we do see Rick Flagg Sr. approach her. And
Yeah.
so having that knowledge now of her relationship with Rick Flagg, really kind of informs like what she might potentially do. So
Yeah.
I really liked this scene. I liked seeing Joel Kinnaman again, because he really redeemed himself, in James Gunn's version. Like, I
Oh,
think
he
people
did. I
hated on his
mean,
character. He totally did a whole degree change with that character, which I
he
really,
really
really
did.
appreciated. So yeah,
I think the character of Rick Flagg in the 2016 Suicide Squad was
kind of a joke.
perhaps the most laughable thing in the entire
Yeah,
movie.
yeah,
Not even just weird and disturbing like the Joker was in that, or whatever else was, but just actively, this is awful. Everything about this character, the writing of it, the
the
dialogue of it,
lines,
the
yeah, it's
acting of
so
it, frankly,
goofy. Yeah.
was just bad.
Yes, and the way he was able to turn that character around to somebody you like, someone you really felt for when you saw him die,
Yeah.
somebody who kind of was poking fun at himself, but felt like a good leader and like a likable part of this group. Like, yeah, he did a great job with that. So to see him again here and see his relationship with Harcourt and him kind of really being vulnerable and wanting to make it a serious thing, and her, putting a kind of a wall up with him to a degree, and then getting that whole montage of losing him. Um,
Yeah.
it all kind of packed a punch, and then seeing this kind of goofier version of him, I love getting to see him kind of play into some comedic stuff, because I thought his little moments were kind of funny when we meet him in the other dimension, and Chris goes to see Harcourt, and he is jealous of them talking and is like sneaking behind pillars and watching them and knocking over trash cans and then blaming some other guy for like
Yeah. Because I
so
think obviously learning that other dimensions version of Chris and Harcourt have had something or other there in the past as well that
yeah,
Chris butchered badly by the
yeah,
sounds.
yeah.
So to see to kind of get that information that did happen, but there's a willingness to return to at least amicability, to amiability, to pleasantries
Yeah.
between the two of them speaks to kind of okay. Why would Chris not want to stay in this other dimension? He's literally getting everything he's ever wanted. And that's aside from the massive action scene we get of him being incredibly successful at taking down all these guys that come in, as you said before, as the Sons of Liberty, which is a
Yeah.
nice sounding name, actually. I mean, Liberty, that's nice, isn't it?
Mhm.
Let's all get Liberty. What's it Liberty for? We don't know yet.
Yeah.
Maybe it
Mhm.
is actually, maybe they are actually positive people and it's a negative world we're in. And actually, Peacemaker's just
Doing the
embodying
inverse of what
certain,
yeah.
yeah, doing the inverse of what a superhero, quote unquote, should be doing, and he's just playing a propaganda merchant.
Yeah, who
Who's to
knows?
know?
Who knows? Who knows?
He would be a pretty
I
good
know, but
propaganda merchant, I think.
yeah, yeah, but the framing of it, this kind of whole hero thing. I mean, even him waking up in this world, because we ended with him in this alternate dimension, drunkenly texting this universe's Harcourt.
Yes.
He wakes up in his bed in this universe. His brother's waking him up, and telling him to get up, like, and he dropped some interesting lines of dialogue. So I was trying to tell you to kind of focus on kind of things people say.
I
When
mean, I
his
would have
brother
focused at the time. I've forgotten at this point.
Well, his brother's talking, "Oh, is it just at least it's just alcohol as opposed to kind of maybe other drugs." Like,
Yeah,
he alludes to
yeah.
the fact this is not the first time he's found Chris in this state. He says that he thought he was kind of getting better, but at least it's just alcohol and not other things.
I
So
mean,
we get
that's been quite clear to me that Chris goes missing for days, if not weeks at a time, sometimes in this other dimension. And why
yeah.
exactly that may happen is a concern to, his dad and Keith.
Yeah.
Why that happens, I don't know. It's pure speculation for me at this point.
Well, they do kind of pepper some things in, and I don't think the show ever really makes it clear or says it out loud, but there are some things you should notice about kind of these little things that play into kind of what we're gonna see later. Just like the fact that he is kind of always going on these stupors, and kind of the complications in his relationship with Harcourt.
See, that's what I was saying. So all those things I'm noticing. So
Yeah.
I don't know any details of that. I don't think we've been told any details of that. So I don't think
Yeah.
I'm going to know any details of that. Is that kind of, that's what I kind of think.
I mean, I think it'll be clear. It'll be clear to kind of like read more into them once other things are revealed.
I mean, maybe, but you know what I'm like in terms
yes,
of
you're not a looking ahead kind of person, but I think I'm just kind of wanting you to just hold on to like different things and kind of, let your mind kind of start working a little bit. Because if this world is so perfect, why would he constantly be having these drunken stupors,
I mean, it's a fair point. It's a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Couldn't possibly speculate.
Yeah, so like just something to kind of chew on a little bit. But yeah, so he wakes up, he gets dressed, he sees like the ridiculous clothes he has in his closet, these crazy prints and patterns and fancy shoes and tight pants and things. And he ends up kind of having to play this game with Keith to get him to tell him where Harcourt works, and yeah. And he ultimately learns he has the peace cycle or whatever it's called, and he has his own kind of bike. It's a cool bike.
Literally riding around the town, everybody looking, oh, look, it's Peacemaker. You're so cool, Peacemaker.
Yeah.
You're my favorite Peacemaker. And he's loving every second.
Yeah, everyone's like, I love you. And like everyone down the street is calling for him. Ladies flashing their boobs, little boys, oh, I love you, Peacemaker. I love you so much. Kind of thing.
It's a bit intense.
There's a big mural of him, his dad, and his brother. The top trio, like saving the day. It's a little overboard, but he's hyped on it. He's loving the attention. It's making him feel really good. So
I mean, it does make me wonder that, given that there's a massive mural of the three of them, like clearly with his father in front and center, in the exact same costume that he wore as unbelievably king of racists in the real world in the first season, whatever he was called, what the white grand dragon,
the white dragon or whatever. But I think his suit here is the same, but it's blue instead of red. And I think even are little differences with Peacemakers, like his helmets look a little bit different. I think the bird is a little bit facing the other way, and it's a different color, and so there's little different things.
But I just think I just think is his father the same kind of I suppose,
I mean, it's
entity in this.
It's definitely something to think about, considering his costume is kind of the same thing. So yeah,
so if he is that same person, are we dealing with a kind of supremacist sort of society?
It's definitely something the show wants you to think about, because not making any kind of significant changes to his costume. But yeah, so Chris in his
is he still this play on some sort of clan leader?
Yeah. So I definitely think,
and if he is, then maybe that's what we're dealing with in this second dimension.
Yeah, I think definitely not doing any kind of significant things to his costume is what the show kind of wants you to think about. So yeah, he ends up showing up at Argus, and he's getting questioned by the security. He's able to play it off and do a face scan, which it matches. He goes in there, he sees her
panicking about that for some reason.
Yeah.
Same person. I don't know why he would be panicking.
He'd be worried about that. But he ends up running into Rick Flagg first, and like rightfully so, has a kind of weird
Oh,
reaction
he
to seeing
temporarily
him
wets
again.
himself, I think.
Yeah, in his crazy tight pants, which also, like, he kind of jokes with Keith that, like, "Oh, this looks like something from the Kardashians' closet," and Keith's like, "Who are the Kardashians?" So, just like, no Kardashians in this world, okay.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a benefit. Although would somebody like Keith know who they are anyway?
yeah, that's a good point. But,
Does does my own father, for example,
you
know who
probably
the
know the
Kardashians
Kardashians,
are?
but, who knows?
It's anybody's
Um,
guess. It's
but
anybody's
just,
guess.
again, another thing to just chew on.
Mm,
Um
another thing to chew on. I get it.
Yes, yeah, so I love that there's, like, an actual real reaction that he has from seeing him because he's, he haunts him in a degree
Of
because we've seen him
course.
have these flash memories of killing him, um, and then he sees Harcourt, she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry he's being so weird, like, he wasn't supposed to be here today," and him just kind of peeking over
Yeah.
cubicles and watching them, and they go out and
Tripping up
talk.
over bins
Yeah,
and running
yeah,
into
and being
pole balls
ridiculous.
and things.
Yeah. Um, and they end up kind of going to talk and they have a nice time. They're playing with puppies and he's making her laugh and it's everything he wants with other Harcourt.
Yeah,
And this
yeah.
one's very receptive to it. And this one's like very sweet and nicely dressed and skirts and things. So, totally kind of different version of the person.
Oh yeah. I mean, cut alongside these scenes in the real world of Harcourt meeting
Pick it,
with
pick it.
Rick Flagg Sr. um,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
having
And we see
these
her
tough, hard, as you say as well, as I think you were going to say, picking fights with other people
again. Yeah.
and
To
doing
just
this
to
kind of
feel
stuff,
something. Yeah.
which is incredibly damaging and a dangerous way to be. But this meeting that she has in the real world with Rick Flagg Sr. is obviously very interesting. It will lead us into the next episode, really,
Yeah.
of him essentially giving her the task of bring me Peacemaker and you get your intelligence job back.
Yeah, well, I think that's more what happens at the end of the second episode, I
It
think.
might be what happens at the end of the second
Yeah,
episode.
yeah,
I have no idea what happened
in this
when.
in this episode, it's kind of the aftermath of the party and, like, Adebayo questioning her, like, "What's going on with you and Chris?" He kinda left the party pretty quickly, like,
If
"What
there's somebody
happened?"
that's getting shortchanged in the season, though, compared to what she was getting in season one, it's Danielle Brooks as Adebayo. I mean, there's nothing quite meaty enough yet. And I know she obviously had the meatiness in the first season of her being directly Amanda Waller's
Muller's daughter.
daughter.
Yeah, yeah.
She's just taking a side role a little bit
Yeah,
more.
she's there for kind of counsel and support mostly. In these couple episodes that I think you've seen so far. But yeah, she's trying to I feel like she's doing it for us. She's trying to get information of like what happened on this party boat. Like why did Chris leave so quickly? Something must have happened. Like he and I love her being like a good best friend. Like
Yeah.
she's kind of talking up Chris's looks and like, he's a built guy, he looks good, he's super nice, like all the kind of gross, annoying shit that we thought about him. Like, he's totally changed that. Like, he's a really good guy and he's in love with you. Like, what is the issue? And she's just like, no, like, he's a mess and I'm a mess and it's not gonna work out. And she like is still walls up, won't say. Like, even
Yeah.
Adebayo, like you'd think that they formed kind of like as the ladies of the group and after everything they've been through that she might open up to her a little bit and give us the tea because like as a watcher you're just like I want to know what happened on that party boat. Something
Well,
happened.
you do. Yeah, you
And
do.
but she won't tell Adebayo anything. So we're trying to kind of fill in those gaps with her and Chris and what happened and why she has these walls up, but we don't get too much. So that's kind of what we're doing in this episode when it comes to Harcourt.
Yeah.
And kind of
Is it? I
cutting
mean, is it
back from the
worth?
two versions of the character.
Yeah. I mean, is it worth getting into this second episode now? Obviously, we have mentioned there's that big action set piece in the first episode of Peacemaker,
Yeah,
saving
he
the
ends
day
up
seemingly at Argus.
yeah, he gets into the DMV with the Sons of Liberty are, planting bombs and making threats
Yeah,
of taking down all these government places if their demands aren't met. And he ultimately ends up taking out all of the guys,
yeah,
most of them, and saving the day. His brother shows up, and it's a whole kind of big hero situation. Um, of him saving the day, and he feels really good. Like all the people in the town are happy. Harcourt's happy and impressed with him, and it's like him getting to finally like fight crime with his brother, and so
yeah,
he's feeling really good about this place. So then he ultimately, him and Harcourt kind of make a plan to kind of discuss further the coming back together of their relationship, because they have a really interesting conversation. She's like, "You really broke my heart. I don't want
yeah.
to get my heart broken again just because you're curious of what we might be," and things like that. So they kind of take it tentatively, this thing. So then
Very.
he ends up going back home, and he finally lays on his bed, and he finally starts realizing like things are kind of messed up in his house. Bullet holes in the ceiling, a mess everywhere, broken glass. And he's wondering like what happened, and he thinks it's just Eagly, because Eagly has opened the fridge and
Yeah,
ripping out all the food. And then he, that's all. Argus is on their way, Economos um and Judo Master and all of the Argus people are after him. And so Economos is trying to like side text him to let him know they're on their
yes,
way and they're coming for Eagly. And it's a kind of jumbled text, but he is able to get it to Chris, and Chris is able to get out just in time before they get there. But Judo Master finds him, and he ends up actually having a big fight in the woods with Judo Master. He ends up able to take at the beginning of this episode, so that's kind of what we end up going into. In the next episode, we see that he has the portal kind of contained in
yeah,
this device,
yeah.
so he
Well,
can take it
let's
with
put
him. So
let's put the little tag up and give a bit of a
yes,
synopsis as to this second episode. Then we have obviously touched on a few things that happen
things that
in it
happen here.
already.
Yeah. Yes. Argus has Economos help them break into John's closet. Red Saint Wild opens his third eye, while Rick gives Amelia a way to get back into the government's good graces. Leota gives John advice on how to handle the parallel universe situation, while he moves the quantum door.
Yeah, I mean it's very much directly following
Yeah.
on, isn't
Yeah.
it? And we just
And I realized this synopsis called him John instead of Chris.
Chris because it is John
John
Cena.
Cena. Yeah.
So this is where like Michael Rooker's character gets over kind of weirded out by the fact there may be two eagles, and has this big gash on his head, and he thinks
Yeah.
it's his third eye opening, and he just becomes deranged, really.
Yeah.
And it's I suppose, like I said before, I think the Rick Flagg and Harcourt stuff, Rick Flagg Sr. and Harcourt stuff, the kind of almost bribery going on there from Rick
Yeah,
Flagg
and he
Sr.
and
is
yeah.
the most interesting thing going on. Like, how many times really? I mean, we're 4 episodes into the damn show. It
Yeah.
feels like Chrissy's house has been invaded 3 times.
Right?
How many more times can it possibly be laid under siege before they actually get into the room where
and
all the
find this
dimensional
door.
doors are,
Exactly.
and explore for themselves? That's what I'm
Yeah.
waiting for. I'm sure it will happen.
Yeah.
At some point. Kind of has to.
Yeah, but it's like really going back to like Rick Flagg Sr. and Harcourt, just the way he approaches her in this friendly, like family sense. Like, my son loved you. You guys were best
Yeah.
friends. Call me Rick. Like, just
She still calls him Sir.
Yeah, but him trying to like prey on this comfortability, I care kind of energy. It feels a little bit manipulative. It doesn't feel completely organic to me. but he is knowing kind of the way to get to her and to kind of mess with her relationship with Chris and her newfound kind of respect for him after last season.
Yeah.
Because, oh yeah, I mean, Adebayo also brings up that he sat by her bed for 5 days, while she was in that coma
Yes.
as well. So
Mhm.
I love the conflict here of her, we're seeing how much she cared about Rick Flagg Jr., and we're seeing how much she cares about Chris now, but her kind of these walls up and these kinds of things. So I love that we've gotten all of that, and now we're seeing her kind of face with the situation. And also, we're seeing the stress of her not being able to handle being black booked and not being able to do what she wants to do career wise and be
Yeah.
of service. So all of that, I think they set all of that up with her really beautifully to make this scene with Rick Flagg Sr. Really interesting in terms of, we struggle to kind of, it would be easy to think, she's proven herself to be one of the good guys. She's proven to be on the side of our ragtag group.
Yeah.
So her decision should be easy. But I like that they've given us enough complicated mess with her that we could kind of contemplate the decision she might make in potentially
Yeah.
betraying Chris. So all of
Definitely.
that ends up
And
being
this
really
now
interesting.
revealed prior relationship with Joel Kinnaman's Rick Flag,
Yeah.
which does add far more layers onto that mentality, I suppose. It's just
Yeah.
another reason why she is so messed up psychologically, really.
Yeah. Yes. So,
Because she ain't going to go to any therapist, because we saw what that tried to do
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No,
last episode.
Exactly. So yeah, a really kind of complicated thing there, but Chris kind of getting out of this situation, he does text Adebayo to pick him up and take him to his grandfather's cabin so that he could potentially
Yeah.
set up the door there, which we opened this episode, I believe, with a flashback scene of young Chris and Keith and their dad hunting, and they find this creepy alien
Yeah.
thing, and instead of kind of letting it go or seeing what it is or capturing it, their dad just kills it, just shoots him.
Yeah.
Augie just kills it. And they see he has this kind of portal device, and so they take it. And so we learn that's kind of what makes the doors. So once Chris gets away, he gets the portal thing, and so he has to open a new door in order to close the one that's in his closet.
Yeah. It's usefully portable, though, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
I don't think, unless portals are created by oneself, a la Doctor Strange or something like that.
Yeah.
They tend to stay in one place.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it depends.
This is a technological portal.
Exactly.
That is able to be moved around.
Yeah. So there's like a ticking
Useful,
clock in terms of, Economos. They're asking him to crack the code of this portal to get in there.
Yes, he's trying to stall for time as well.
Yes, and he's able to get in the truck and like get his tools, and while he's there, he calls his friends and says, "Hey, they're having me try to crack into this thing. I'll stall as long as I can. So hurry up and do what you need to do," kind of thing.
And I do like how they're all like, Economos, you're literally a genius at this sort of stuff. Just do it. And he's like, well, no, this is a little bit unusual for me. It's not really
it's
what
different. Yeah.
Yes.
And so
I'm just gonna have
and he's
to
like
try and
explaining every
Stop
step.
playing around.
Yeah. Do we hear a cat? I think I heard a cat like wailing. I think we should look around and find this cat, like constantly stalling. Oh, I'm just gonna put this plug and this plug, and this is how you do. Like he's explaining every step, and they're getting annoyed. And
it's like a child not wanting to be told it's bedtime.
Exactly, just making every excuse to stay awake longer. So yeah, he's having to kind of stall this whole situation as Chris is trying to open this new portal. And yeah, the timing and ends up kind of lining up just right as Economos finally cracks the code of the portal. Chris is able to shift the portal to the cabin where him and Adebayo are, in order to protect, what his hidden kind of thing. And so when they open the door, there's nothing there. It's just a closet. So
I suppose it does make you wonder what they would do with the information of interdimensional portals? Like, what would this specific group of Argus people do with that information? Because Economos seems to be reasonably half aware that something like this is happening. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if he's exactly aware of what's going on, but I mean, he must be to some degree aware that there's some unusual portal-y type thing going on. But he's just not, his friendship with Chris makes him not as intrigued, I guess, to go do
delve
massive research on this. But what's Tim Meadows gonna do about this portal situation?
Yeah, and I mean, you have to kind of believe that,
not
like,
particularly competent.
Yeah, but I mean, I think part of it is also like, initially, I don't think there's any real reason why Rick Flagg Sr. is after this. It's more just him wanting to get Chris and find a way to put Chris in jail because Chris killed his son. So I think it starts.
What's it going to be? And you're housing an illegal portal. It doesn't even make sense as an
Well, I mean, technically, it is. That's kind of exactly what it is. Like, he shouldn't have this technology. But I think at this point,
why is that a criminal offense?
This man killed the man killed his son. He's gonna find anything.
I understand.
He's gonna find any loophole to put this man in jail because he got.
My point is that's not a loophole because that doesn't actually exist in any sort of law. So
yeah, but Argus is an agency that would. But this is not the real world kind of situation. This is a world where
it's all these John Grisham movies from November.
Yes, you are very much grounding all of this in real law. Real world law.
I don't understand why Rick Flagg doesn't just go out on the hunt to murder Chris rather than try and find out what weirdness is going on. Just go all out on the hunt for him. Surely that would make more sense.
I think that would be I think that would be a little too easy, and I think he wants him to suffer. And I think he is a by the book kind of guy that we've learned. So, so there's that. So I think I
thought it was supposed to be a superhero comic book show where things didn't have to be grounded. Why is Rick Flagg Sr. allowed to be grounded?
I think you can have grounded emotions. You can have grounded emotions in otherworldly scenarios, because we've been talking this whole 2 episodes about the real world grounded emotions that these characters are feeling and going through.
Yes, we have.
Yes, and I think from Superman we learned that he is this by the book kind of guy. So he has to find a legal way to go after Chris, and this is the thing. And then this is also, a good excuse for him. And I don't think, the thing is, I don't think anybody would be going as hard on this if there wasn't this kind of personal aspect looming. I think any other agency would probably be going after Chris, but not to this degree. And not so, why we've invaded his house twice in like a one couple days span, and that whole kind of thing. So, I think there is definitely, we're supposed to read kind of a personal vendetta in how hard he's coming for him and how, how urgent it is for him to get this technology from him. So, they've gotten a little bit closer.
I mean, maybe, to be fair, maybe what Flagg Sr. wants to do with this technology, maybe he does realize it's obviously some sort of interdimensional portal, because I don't think he necessarily realizes exactly what
it is. And I think that's also a thing driving them as well, because what can this do? How could this potentially help us in other things we want to do?
Exactly. And obviously, should he find out that it is, which I'm sure he will find out that it is interdimensional portal, and in this other dimension that Chris has been hanging out in, doing all nice things all the time, like he's always wanted to do. That Rick Flagg Jr. is still alive. Will Rick Flagg Sr. then not want to transport himself into that universe as well? Because his son's still alive there. So will it not be that sort of situation of well, I came after this for one reason, but actually, let's keep it around let's keep Chris around because Chris knows how to use this technology, and also it's going to help me get over my grief with my own son because I
Yeah,
get to go and see him. Although probably
exactly.
not get over his grief, because if there's one thing that's not going to get you over grief, it's the ability to see your deceased relative.
Yeah, yeah, because it's gonna cause some emotional complications for Chris for sure. So, like, imagine anybody else kind of wanting to kind of partake in
Yeah.
that.
I don't
Um,
know. I just think that's coming for Rick Flagg Sr. I just think
okay,
he's going to find out that it's interdimensional. He's going to want to. He's going to go in, see Joel Kinnaman, and go, "Damn, I want to kind of stay here now," and have
okay,
that same sort of
kind of
reaction to Chris ultimately. Of
okay.
this looks great, everything looks great, and then maybe that's going to come very soon, and then the world that is that other dimension turns out to be as evil as we maybe assume it kind of has to be
Assuming
for
it could
story
be.
purposes.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, Adebayo, like, she is laying out a
Big fight.
various kind of things that it could be. She's very much like, this may sound nice, but it sounds a little too perfect, Chris. Like, I think you need to be on guard with how perfect things are in this world.
Is
And
it a
he really,
dream world? I
yeah,
know we've
like
said it's not like
no,
a
yeah, but she's
hallucination, but
no, yeah, she's just saying this is a little too good to be true. So maybe you need to be on guard and like I don't think you should go back in there. And he's making every excuse to like go back.
yeah,
So
is it some form of magic
yeah,
where we are actively dealing with, like I said before, I think some
any
sort
kind of
of
like a
fabricated,
WandaVision type thing. Yeah,
created
yes.
reality of anybody who transports through this particular doorway, this particular portal, will have the world they desire the
Yeah.
most in it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the case. I don't know.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
would
so
be
there's a
interesting.
lot of things. So these 2 episodes definitely give us a lot to kind of to chew on and to ponder about,
Hmm.
and lots of little clues to things that are gonna kind of be revealed soon enough. But, and
Well, I
some
feel
great
like
character stuff.
we'll
Yeah.
be hyping things up and ramping things up, I suppose, is a better way of putting it, in the next episode of Palling with Peacemaker. Obviously, episodes 5 and 6 will be the meaty ones, I would imagine, that get us
Yeah,
into,
because
oh,
Harcourt
this is actually what's happening. Maybe,
yes, because Harcourt does ultimately agree to work with them,
yeah.
to kind of lure Chris out, and she says, like, "Don't, hurt him or anything like that, but I will help you get to at least talk to him."
I mean,
Um,
she's going to be able to do that. She is
yes.
going to be able to
So
do
she
that.
does
He's
set up
going
a
to
meeting
go
with
for it.
him in a public park to talk to him about this, and Argus will be listening in. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of like the media stuff in the episode. I think, our eagle catcher, he does end up revealing that like the crazy thing he was saying about eagle he being this like omega eagle whatever was actually true because he does this whole ritual, and
Yes.
potentially I don't know, Eagly might have some powerful things happening with
Maybe
him.
Eagly is a god. You
Maybe,
know,
perhaps. Yeah. So,
I'd like Eagly to be a god.
yeah.
I think
Third eye has
it's
been
better
opened.
than, well, exactly. He's better than
So,
anybody else being a god. Really, so you
yeah.
might as well have Eagly.
Yeah.
Um, should I say I wouldn't? Would I want anybody else in Peacemaker to be some sort of god? Who's the most? I mean, Adebayo is the most sensible of them all.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
Nobody else really would make a
No, no.
vigilante a terrible god.
I mean, he's ridiculous.
Um,
Oh my god. Oh yeah, he's
he
gonna get
doesn't do a
a
lot, to be fair, in these couple of episodes, really,
I
does he? Which is
know.
probably why
Yeah,
we've not mentioned him.
yeah.
Um,
I think
but I
Chris
think,
just
as I
calls
said last
him
time,
to
you know,
bring a door, to bring some doors.
yes,
Yeah.
I think, as I said last time, though, Vigilante Adrian, whatever you want to refer to him as, the most,
Yeah.
he's a small doses kind of character. Like, you don't want too much of him because he will then become just obnoxiously annoying and aggravating. But keep bringing him up in keep bringing him in small
Yeah, I
doses,
like his whole
doing
kind of thing in
nice
the
things
opening.
because he's all very well intentioned, all very good hearted
Yeah.
and good natured and everything like that.
Yeah.
So keep peppering him in here and there to do those things, to be useful, to have that emotional ability that he brings to the show in
Yeah.
this overly loving, affectionate sort of way that is needed for these characters and in this show, definitely.
Mhm.
Don't center your entire show around him. Like, I couldn't watch the ongoing adventures of Vigilante as a
Vigilante?
TV show. It'd be
Aw, I don't know.
absolutely
I love him, so
obnoxious.
I don't know. I love him. I don't know if I would. I think I might be. I don't know that I would get completely sick of
It
him,
would
but
need to, you know
I
what?
get it.
It would
I get
need
it.
to, it would need to get the tone
Right.
banged on correctly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if it tried being as serious as Peacemaker is sometimes, you know, while also being, you know, brash and comedic and
Yeah.
rude and all the other things that Peacemaker
Yeah.
is. Like, if a show about Vigilante tried having this exact same tone, no. But if a show
Yeah.
about Vigilante was this uber wholesome sort of really sweet comedy, then yeah, I could buy that.
Mhm.
Don't try and make it gritty when it comes to
Yeah.
Vigilante. He's not about that. He's there for he's there to bring warmth and
Yeah.
sort of sitcom level of familiarity to
Yeah.
proceedings, not any sort of genuine violent grit, even though he's obviously quite a violent character, but he is in this
Yeah.
world, I
Yeah.
suppose. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's another thing to think about, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Definitely a lot of things this episode laid out for you to kind of keep an eye on, to look at, to question.
yeah.
Yeah. So just listen, look, and you might get your
Stop,
answer
look,
sooner
listen,
than you.
think. It's like crossing the road, isn't it, when you were at school?
Exactly. Yeah. So, you might get the answers that you are looking for earlier than you expected. So, yeah.
I may. I may.
Yeah.
I may just do that. Interesting things, of course. Palling with Peacemaker. It's wild that we're halfway through
I
this
know.
season.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little quick one. Yeah.
This iteration of
Mhm.
Palling with Peacemaker. Before we, of course, return to diving into Doctor Who for the
Yes.
10th Doctor's run,
Mhm.
after the next 2 episodes of Palling with Peacemaker, obviously covering the rest, the second half of Peacemaker Season 2. As we said before, it does alternate on Mondays on the It's Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel and the It's Wonderful Podcast feed, whatever you may be listening to today, with Discovering Dawson's Creek, which is endless. Jeannine, no, I'd say that in a loving way because I like Dawson's
Yeah,
Creek.
we're
Although I
about
don't
to
like it at the moment.
No, a character we love is pissing us off. So, Joey,
I
we're
don't
looking at
like it at the
you.
moment. I was very annoyed.
Josephine Potter, we're looking at you.
I blame Katie. I don't blame Katie Holmes herself, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's not good there for
No,
old Joey
she's doing
Potter on
some not so
Dawson's Creek.
great things. Yeah, I mean, we're at the tail end of season 4, 2 more seasons after that, but we're on a
2 more
steady little
seasons
pace.
and only 50 episodes.
Right? Yeah, like both seasons are like 20 something episodes. So,
We've still got all
yeah,
that time
and I think
to
we're gonna
go.
be, we're gonna be getting into the last few episodes of season 4 coming up in the next few
Yes.
weeks. So, yeah.
I mean, will that mean, am I being silly? Will that mean we finish Discovering Dawson's Creek in 2026? Or will it be like just about not?
I would say we'd probably
Oh,
finish it
that's
by
right.
next year, I think.
Like by the end. Because if we've
Yeah.
got 50 episodes left.
And we're doing 2 episodes every other week.
Yeah. Or we're doing an episode, like on average, an episode a week. It's 52 weeks. Maybe we'll just about make it.
End of next year, yeah.
Like maybe the very end of 2026 as well,
Yeah.
which be a nice start to 27 to do
To do a whole new show.
the new show there,
Mhm.
really, wouldn't it?
Mhm.
On our TV-based things on a Monday. Of course, subscribe to the It's a Wonderful Podcast feed, wherever you may be listening today.
Mhm.
Leave your comments on Spotify, rate and review everywhere else, and share it around. and leave your likes and all that good stuff. Of course, subscribe, ding your notification bell on the It's Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel if you are watching today's episode, which you, of course, can do with our TV-based shows. We do put them on YouTube as well. Things have been scrolling down at the bottom of the screen. If you are watching today, if you would like to support us on Patreon or donate in that format, as it is Christmas week, as we like to call it, the time between Christmas and New Year, when nobody knows what day it is and everybody's just eating chocolates and mince pies. Unless you're American and you don't eat mince pies for some strange reason. You will eat chestnuts or mac and cheese or some other nonsense. That's what you have. It's not as ever wise not being it's factually correct.
Some other such nonsense.
I don't mean. Yes, okay. I did say that. I cannot defend. I did say that.
You called it nonsense. Hater.
It is nonsense. It's nonsense that you don't eat a mince pie. I've had so many mince pies in December. Literally countless. I couldn't tell you how many. It's ridiculous. It's not good for me.
It's just confusing. The laziness of not renaming these pies when they stopped being made with meat.
It is. I admit it is confusing, but everybody understands.
It's fruit and nuts and things, and it sounds like it's a meat pie.
It's fruit. Minced fruit. It's very nice. Anyway, it is Christmas week, so we hope you enjoyed your festive time, your festive week, and we're glad you've spent some of it with us and palling with Peacemaker, of course. Morgan Hasn't Seen is another show we have on the It's Wonderful podcast feed, as well as the main show, of course, celebrating old movies every single week. We're starting 2026 off very strong on the main show with a pre-code series for January. That's very, very exciting. Do keep an eye out, of course, for the announcement posts and the polls and all that great stuff as well this week. And of course, our next Q&A episode to cover our December series. Not that they're over yet, as we have our last 2025 episode of Morgan Hasn't Seen coming this Wednesday to close out our Not Quite Christmas series. That's been very exciting. Our 70s Christmas horror series was very exciting as well on the main show for December. All good things come to an end, and it's been a great end to 2025. Great year for the show, really. We certainly hope 2026 is equally and if not better for It's a Wonderful Podcast and all things we are doing. Namely, thank you to you for listening and watching today's episode. That is what makes the most difference, and sharing it around, of course. That is the name of the game. But of course, you can also find us to share it all around on and across all the social medias, on the app formerly known as Twitter and on Blue Sky. It's a wonderful one. Find me on the app formerly known as Twitter at the Purple Dawn with a 3 instead of the E in there, because Jeannine,
3 is a magic number.
On Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at the Purple Dawn. All your peace and love is where. I don't know why I said peace and love. Maybe it's because it's Christmas as well.
Maybe. You can find me at Jeannine Devine _ on Twitter, Jeannine Devine on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And if you want to get any merch for any of our shows, just check the description for the link or search G9 Design on tpublic.com.
Well, of course, there we go. And it does leave us only one thing left to do, of course. An impression of Michael Rooker being some sort of weird eagle hunter.
Oh, no.
Jeannine, can you do that sort of...
No, I cannot. I cannot do a Michael Rooker. A Mary Poppins, y'all.
Everything's just...
3, 2, 1.
I don't know what he did to his voice.
I know.
His younger years to get that to him, but it's something special. Bye.